Stem cells make up really every good thing in our body, including our organs. And they don't actually leave our body as we age, but they do go dormant. In other words, they stop working is a good way to look at it. So at the age of 30, we're down to about 50% of our stem cells. So half of them are dormant. They're just not working. And so this is when we start to feel a little bit of aches and pains maybe, and we can't run a mile as fast as we used to run a mile. And there could be other factors, but this is definitely happening. By the time we're 60, now we're down to about 10% of our stem cells are actually active. And that's where we really get this wrinkling and joints popping and failing and all that. So we're actually going to show you some data that as we go along and some differences before and after, literally, of people that are using this technology and getting some results. Let's look at this. This is how I like to explain how stem cells work. It's really this simple. A 6-year-old boy, 5-year-old boy is riding their bike down the road and they fall off and hit the concrete and they skin their knee and bump their elbow. Within 2 minutes, they're back on their bike. If you have a 85-year-old person that falls off their bike stationary, then they're probably going to break their hip and go to the hospital. It's a bad deal. And we can kind of chuckle about this because nobody was injured to make these photos, okay? This is all AI. Nobody got hurt. Nobody's really in an ambulance here. But the answer that the world puts out there is get stem cell injections. Now, let's talk about stem cell injections for a minute. This is not what we're promoting here tonight. Stem cell injections are extremely expensive. And then as Dr. Leland Stillman, he's an MD from Naples, Florida, what he says is people get limited results for a limited amount of time with them. And it's because there's something in the body called copper peptide, GHKCU. The body must bring this copper peptide back to life in order for stem cells to actually stay alive long term, okay? So this isn't a theory I have. It isn't a theory that Dr. Leland Stillman has. I'm going to show you a video of a guy here. I've never actually met Dr. Eric Weiss. He's an MD. I found his video on Facebook, and I thought, wow, this guy makes my point for me. Why would I try to make the point? I'll let a guy that is an MD. He's also a plastic surgeon. And it should be noted that he makes at least part of his living from doing stem cell injections, okay? So the question was asked of this doctor, how long do stem cell injections last? Listen to his answer. It's pretty amazing.
Many people ask how long stem cells last. That's a tough question, to answer. The Duke study showed that benefits were found starting at about 1 month and then going up to 6 and then plateauing. Stem cells are kind of immunologically privileged, but the more they work, the more they start to express something called HLA antigens. And then the body picks them up as foreign and eliminates them. The stem cells are never designed to live long term in your body. They're designed to signal your body to heal itself, start the healing process, and then go away.
So stem cell injections are not meant to live in your body long term. This is what the traditional thinking is. What if there was a way to extend it and bring your own stem cells back to life? That is what we're looking for here.
So this is what we're here to talk about tonight. You can see on the slide, it's about the size of a quarter. It's a patch. It's kind of like a sticker. It looks like this without the sticker, but the size of it, it's very powerful. And as we go on, you will definitely see that.
Yeah, so most of us are familiar with red light therapy. Amy had a red light a couple of years, whatever. She bought it on Amazon and she sits underneath this red light. And so she was all about red light therapy before we even heard about this patch. And we're going to discuss the difference between infrared light therapy, taking something from outside of your body, putting it in. So the technical term for this patch, how it works is it's photobiomodulation, okay? Just think of phototherapy is probably the best way to think of it. Amy and I grew up in Michigan. So in Michigan, you get sometimes weeks where it's cloudy days, just clouds are like right over your head, and it's just, they actually have a name for the disorder. I don't even want to give it life, but you get depressed from all these clouds. And so I remember when the sun would come out, my mom would say, man, you sure are in a bad mood. Get outside and get some sun. The sun will give you vitamin D. How many have heard this before? The sun actually doesn't give us vitamin D. The sun stimulates a certain cholesterol on our skin. Our body creates the vitamin D. Okay, so everything in God's creation is putting off infrared light. And we're going to see that here in a video in a couple minutes. Night vision goggles that the military uses to see the bad guys at night through a brick wall, that's how they see them, because we're all putting off this infrared light. That's how night vision goggles work. So whether you're totally healthy, like my wife here, or maybe you got some problems with your body's falling to pieces and you need some fixing, but Serena Williams, you can see she's very healthy. There she is on her private plane, and you can see she's got the X39. I'll hold it just like she did. She's got it upside down in her little, she calls it her medical bag. And it's actually a cut from a video. She's talking about her little medical bag, and she always takes her X39 with her. And we're going to show you some other people. Or maybe you've got some kind of health challenge. Like this guy in a car accident just about lost part of his hand. You can see how bad that gash was. And then literally 63 days later, putting this little patch right there. Look at the wound healing assistance he got there. Pretty awesome. So here's the guy that invented this. His name is David Schmidt. He's got over 200 patents to his name, which is pretty impressive. To get one patent is impressive, but to get 200, and his main focus is in stem cell reactivation, stem cell therapy, and age reversal. Okay, I didn't say anti-aging, age reversal, and we're going to show you evidence of that. So he spent $4.5 million in 10 years of his life to bring this little patch here that Amy showed you, bring this thing to market and get a patent on it, which is key. Basically what the patent does, it protects that. It says this is so unique. The government issues a patent and it says nobody else can make this for a period of time. There's well over a decade left on the patent still, and they'll apply to renew it, of course. But it's a very unique technology. To get a patent isn't an easy thing. Only about 55 to 65% of patents that are applied for actually get passed. The rest of them go patent pending. You've probably seen products that say patent pending on them, or they get thrown away. This patent was issued on the first application. So David Schmidt did 10 years of medical studies, double-blind, placebo-controlled, peer-reviewed a lot of these tests, and he had tons of tests on some of his other technologies as well. But let's read just part of what the patent says here. Then we're going to watch a quick little video show you how it works. But I think this is important because there's a lot of quote-unquote products out there that they say are patented, but what is actually patented in the product? A lot of times they patent the container, the nozzle on the container or something, and actually what's in it is not patented. This is what's patented. We go about halfway down in this paragraph here. It says, a beneficial effect providing phototherapy to the human body as a result of elevating copper peptide. Remember, that's why stem cell injections don't last that long if they do work at all, because the copper peptide is not elevated. So because the copper peptide is elevated, the very next line, including activation of stem cells. From that, we get improvement of energy, elevation of antioxidants, reduction of inflammation, management of pain, improvements of stamina, elevation of collagen production. Your body can actually make its own collagen. That's how it got there in the first place, right? And improve wound healing. We're going to show you some of that stuff. So here's a quick little video. It's 1:48 seconds. I just say, remember, our bodies are emitting, human beings emit infrared light and frequency. So what David Schmidt figured out how to do, this is the part that's trade secret. These nanocrystals, salts, sugars, and other things are positioned in a certain way that reflects that light and frequency back into our body to stimulate the copper peptide and bring the stem cells back to life. This is 1:48 seconds. Pretty amazing. We'll be right back.
Light, an ancient form of energy that goes back to the dawn of time. For us, it all begins with the sun, the source of light and life for our entire solar system. Even Einstein concluded that everything we're made of contains light. All life originates with the sun through photosynthesis. Plants and vegetation collect the light, and all living creatures emit light. Humans actually emit infrared light, which can be seen with night vision devices. We've known for centuries that light has many effects on the body. LifeWave's phototherapy patches use light to stimulate the body's natural healing systems, providing specific health benefits. Here's how the technology works. First, a patch is applied to specific points on the body. Where the patch covers the skin, infrared light emitted from the body is reflected back into the tissue. This stimulates the skin, which in turn stimulates specific regions of the brain. The brain then taps into the body's own natural flow of energy and the ability to heal itself. Let's take a look at why this is important on a cellular level. For example, a number of our patch products help counteract free radicals, oxygen molecules that damage cell proteins and contribute to visible signs of aging. When the body is stimulated through phototherapy to release its own antioxidants, these free radicals are neutralized naturally.
So how the X39 works, it's a proprietary form of phototherapy, which you heard Tim mention, patented nanocrystal technology, no drugs, chemicals, or stimulants, which is my favorite part about this. There's nothing going into your body. It reflects light to activate, which you just saw in that video. It's non-transdermal and non-invasive. So again, there is nothing going into your body. All it's doing is activating your very own stem cells.
So there's little stem cells in here that go in your
There's
body?
not.
We
No.
like to hit on that a couple times. It seems so foreign. People look at us like, how does that possibly work? Well, very good. Thank you. It works very good. We're going to show you that as we go along.
So these are just some of the benefits of X39. There's many more. Increased strength, reduced inflammation, which inflammation causes so many issues in our body, increased stamina, energy and vitality, which is something I noticed right away within the first few days. I had energy like I'd had probably in my 30s. So mental clarity or brain fog, restored muscle or skeletal conditions, improved sleep, which you have a great testimony on, and we hear this from a lot of people, their sleep is better, and improved skin appearance.
We are required by law to say this is not intended to treat, cure, or diagnose any disease or condition. Okay. So I like to ask people, you ask yourself this question, why are we required to say that? And you'll see that as we go along. Okay. You do the math yourself. So brain fog, Amy talked about that. Brain fog, I define as, guys, we got one waiting to get in. Brain fog, I define as you walk into a room and you're like, what the heck am I here for? Oh, my car keys. Yeah, I forgot my car keys or whatever it is you were there for. So that brain fog tends to lift and then improve sleep. I slept after 4 days. I slept 8 hours, which doesn't sound impressive until I tell you I hadn't slept 5 hours in 5 years, more than 5 hours in 5 years. So that's been great. So this is actually from the medical studies, these 10 years of medical studies.
So within the first few weeks, 4,000 genes begin to reset. The brain becomes more balanced, which you'll see a slide coming up here soon of a woman whose brain they tracked, I believe, after 6 weeks. You can see the process. Collagen increases and the heart reverses in age. Those are amazing results from these studies.
And David Schmidt said it's not anti-aging, it's age reversing. Now, this is a big company with a lot of lawyers and doctors, and that's quite a statement to make, that it's age reversing. So here's this brain scan Amy was talking about. 77-year-old, she's actually a yoga instructor. So otherwise she's pretty healthy, but she was having some cognitive challenges, forgetting things, putting sentences together, etc. And then they also want to make these test studies. By the way, this is one of the studies that went with the patent application. And she also couldn't be on any kind of drugs or chemicals. Okay, so this is au naturel. You can see the first scan, red is inflammation, lack of brain coherence. So they put the patch on the back of her neck. Amy's going to show you that here in a second. Second session, they did a scan, was at 3 weeks, wearing the patch just 12 hours a day. And better. Inflammation is almost gone at 6 weeks, totally gone. Better brain coherence, total turnaround. Just wearing that patch 12 hours a day.
So yeah, as Tim said, you're going to wear it for 12 hours a day. And in those 12 hours, it's going to elevate, activate, and regenerate those stem cells. And you're going to remove it for 12 hours so that your body can rest and repair and rejuvenate. So for example, when you get up in the morning, you can put it on, put it next to your morning things, your coffee or your, supplements or whatever. So say you get up at 7 in the morning, put your patch on the back of the neck. And there we go. You can see between the shoulder blades or 2 fingers below the belly button are the 2 best spots to wear because that's where we have the most infrared coming off of. And Tim will show you a slide here in a minute. But you're going to wear it. So you put on at 7 o'clock that night. You're going to take your patch off, throw it away. And the next day you put a new one on. You can wear multiple patches. You don't have to, but you can. But if you've gone throughout the day and you've got pain in your knee or your back, you can put a patch on that area and it will help the pain. And you do want to drink a lot of water. You want to stay hydrated.
What about Diet Coke?
No. hydrate. I'm not saying you can't have one, but drink extra water with
If you
it.
drink a Diet Coke, you gotta drink at least twice as
Drink
much
extra.
water to offset that because it is a diuretic. I say this jokingly because I had a guy say, "Well, I don't feel like it's doing anything." I said, well, "How much water are you drinking?" He said, "Oh, I drink iced tea all day long. I drink green tea all day long." Like, dude,
You
like
gotta
I'm not a
drink it
doctor, but I can tell you that ain't a good idea. I like tea as much as the next guy, but I'm not gonna pretend like it's not a diuretic. I do know that.
because they say it does enhance the effects of it.
100%. You'll feel thirsty. You'll know that it's working.
Yeah.
Uh, just you get this kind of taste in your mouth. It's not a bad taste, but you'll know like, wow, something's different. This thing is working. And we recommend you wear, if you can, wear it on the back of your neck there because it's closer to the brain. It tends to work better. But either spot is fine, or like Amy said, you can wear it on if you got a sore spot or whatever. So Amy has been a skin care, we'll call her a devotee or expert. She developed her own skincare line years ago. She also worked for a global cosmetics company for about a decade. So she's been into skincare and been to all these schools and everything, understands how all this works. So I'm gonna have her explain some of this. We're gonna go through a few different pictures here. I say a picture is not worth 1,000 words, it's worth 10,000 words at least. So this young lady I'm getting ready to show you here, she's 93 years old. She's been on the patch less than a year. What are we looking at, honey?
Oh, she looks so good. I mean, it's taken probably 10 years off of her skin, if not more. Um, Obviously, her lines are significantly less, around her mouth and her chin. And honestly, I don't know of a topical product that would do that to your skin. That's age reversing, as David Schmidt calls it.
Yeah. And so we got one way to get in. And so if her skin's doing that much better, how much better is the rest of her body doing?
Yeah, really.
I'm an electrical engineer, so I'm not a medical person, but I did have, biology class in high school, and I remember the skin is the largest organ in the human body. So here's another one, 3 months for this one.
Yeah, and her skin looks great. Second picture, she has on makeup, but you can still see a difference in her skin, like her neck and her chest. The creasing is just about gone, and you can just see it around her mouth and her chin, and then the sunspots, or age spots, it's called either, like it's significantly lighter on this man's skin. This is one of my favorites because it really should be it should be swapped. She has such um reduced like creasing in her neck and her chest and like just around her mouth and her eyes. Like her skin really looks good.
I call her chest the Florida sun chest, just because we lived in Florida for 20 years. So, I mean, people they sit out there and bake and bake and bake. And I think that's probably what happened to her. I don't know. Maybe she's from Michigan. I doubt it though. You can't get that much sun in
But I
Michigan.
mean, she looks great.
Yeah.
It took,
What a turnaround.
yeah.
So this is something I want to contrast. Okay. So this little patch has no side effects. Let's just say somebody has a sugar challenge. This is from one of the drugs you'll see on TV. You cannot watch a football game without seeing this drug on TV, okay? This is a side effect from this drug that you can refer to Nick Palamaki's testimonial if you want to learn about this. But basically, these are the side effects. Diabetic ketoacidosis, serious urinary tract and genital infections. Doesn't that sound like a good time? Acute kidney injury, genital yeast infections, joint pain. While not common, direct side effects, if there's one, it's too many. Some users report psychiatric symptoms like anxiety, nightmares, and depression. But my sugar levels are better. I'm just massively depressed and I can't go to the bathroom anymore because I got a UTI. I'm just crazy. Let's contrast that. This is Renita Brand, and she's a brand partner. Her dad has had sugar challenges, and I was just advised by a medical professional. This is called weeping. Did I get that right, Mary Lou? Weeping. So this picture is blown up, so you can see the weeping and the redness. So it wasn't really swollen that much. Full disclosure. She put 4 patches on her dad's leg, and that's 24 hours later. 24 hours. Not intended to treat, cure, diagnose any kind of disease or condition, but his weeping went away.
Oh, this makes me so happy for this young girl that her skin looks like this. I mean, she obviously I don't know if that's quite cystic acne, but it's pretty pretty bad, and I
Yeah.
feel for her because that's you're gonna when you go to a dermatologist, you're gonna get put on some pretty strong stuff, and sometimes the side effects of medication for that is really not good. So, I mean, this is after wearing the patch. I mean, like her scarring is just about gone, the pitting, all of that. I mean, her skin looks so good. And I know at this age, this is really hard to have. So I'm so happy that
Yeah, that was just
she
like
got the
five
patch.
months.
Yeah.
She struggled with it for years, and then 5 months later, that's what you see.
And yeah, varicose veins or spider veins, I mean, significantly lighter on after 6 weeks, they're just about gone.
And people will pay thousands of dollars to get these cleaned out and injections and all this stuff that they do to it. Or you could put a patch on the back of your neck. That might be a good idea too. So here's one. This guy had this lipoma on his back. We're supposed to just call it a lump, but it's a lipoma. 15 years. He had this thing for 15 years. And only a few months on this patch, gone. And a lot of times if somebody has these taken out surgically, it's not real comfortable. And sometimes they come back, but this thing went away just by putting a patch right on there. Pretty awesome. So we'll call this a circulation problem. Well, this guy had this problem. I look at this foot and I just think, ouch. That's the only word that comes to mind. Like that looks like it would hurt to even try to walk on that thing. Look how swollen it is and just not, I mean, I don't know, dried out. So he put a patch on the back of his neck and one on his foot 3 days later. That's 3 days. Look at the difference.
Wow.
So he's still not going to get any foot modeling jobs, I suspect, but it looks like he can walk on it and the coloring's coming back and it just looks a lot better. Edema, water retention. So again, these are things that you can get all kinds of hardcore drugs for. We have to be careful what we say, otherwise, Big Pharma might drop something on my house or something. They love to give us different medicines to help with things like this. And then you got to take a medicine because that medicine helped you. Then you got to take another one and another. And next thing you know, you're on 9 different medicines. This person here put a patch on the back of their neck, and 3 weeks later, you could see the difference. Oh, so same one here. You'll see this TV commercial for this drug to help you with a skin condition that's listed at the top there. This is 10 days with a patch on the back of their neck. They did not take that drug, that injection that has so many side effects. Just the patch. Look at the difference. Dry skin, I would say that's an understatement for this guy. He had it for several years. This took about 5 months. So here's the thing to keep in mind. Doctors tell us however many decades that we've been alive, because a lot of people say, well, how long does it take to have these results? It's different for everybody, depending on what's going on with your body. But however many decades we've been alive, I'm 57, so let's just call it 66 decades. It could take me that many months. It didn't take me that many months. 4 days, I was sleeping, and my prostate started working better. After about 9 weeks, I was getting up and going to the bathroom like 3 times a night, and I don't have to do that anymore. I'm not taking my prostate supplements anymore. So just between that and the pills for my lower back, man, what a blessing.
Well, this is a skin condition, vitiligo, I believe is how you say it. But I mean, you can see in the first picture, this is just 3 months. The second picture, around his eyes, his forehead, it's significantly better. And the bottom picture, this is after a year. I mean, it looks like it's completely gone.
Yeah. We did confirm that this is what Michael Jackson had. That's why he bleached his skin. So this guy he's promoting X39 everywhere. You can see the difference. That's 1 year. And remember, vitiligo, it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. It never gets better. There is no quote unquote cure for it. So wound healing. This was a snowboarding accident, ran into some trees and a rock. This is 5 days. Look at the difference. Patch on the back of the neck. Here's a cool one. Although this lady had to have a surgery, I guess that part's not cool. She had a nerve wrapped around her jugular vein. They had to go in and cut that open, that big cut there, incision, lots of inflammation. She put 3 patches right around there, and 10 days later, you can't hardly tell that she had the surgery, which is really cool. So this next one, I believe I got a young boy who got his fingertip caught in a door, and as we all would when you get your finger caught in a door, you try to pull on it. Well, he did, and when he did, it about ripped the fingertip right off. The dad rushes him to the emergency room, and the surgeon told him there's really nothing we can do if we sew that fingertip back on. There's too much nerve damage. Keep that in mind, nerve damage. And so the dad begs him to do it. They do it. And eventually you could see the surgeons were right. It did turn black. So the dad put a couple patches on the finger, on the hand, and then one on the back of his neck. And 2 months later, definitely we're supposed to call it wound support. I don't know if you've ever had wound support like that before. Pretty amazing. So dogs, cats, horses, look at the cataract on this dog's eye here. They put the patch on the back of the collar, and you can see just 2 days later that cataract is significantly smaller. This horse cut its eye. They put patch right on the skin above the eye, right below the eye there, and you can see how much it improved that just a few hours later. Mike Tyson. So some people will say, I want to have my doctor check this out, which you certainly can. But let me ask you a question. Do you think it's a true statement to say that most doctors don't learn, particularly if they're MDs, they don't learn a lot of natural stuff in medical school? They just don't teach it because Big Pharma has such an influence on what's taught in medical school. So photobiomodulation is probably not a term that's taught. We'll just say that. But Mike Tyson has doctors. He's very healthy. That's the point. Whether somebody likes Mike Tyson or not, that's the point. He's a healthy guy using this patch, and he's getting good results with it. Then you've got David Beckham. You've got professional Olympic swimmers, NBA players, NFL players, military. There's Serena Williams again. You have other tennis players and super athletes, runners. They're all using these people. They're athletes at the highest level. So their doctors are like at the highest level as well, right? That are advising them of this stuff. So whether you have health challenges or you're in great shape or you want to get in great shape, stay in great shape, this is the product for you. So if you want to have your doctor check it out, here's a doctor that did. I love to play this quick little video. It's very short. This doctor is a MD. He's also a anesthesiologist, specialized anesthesiologist. And he didn't just watch what we're watching here tonight. He studied all the medical studies. He's given this patch to people that are under his care. He's read the patent. Here's what he says about this patch. Listen to this.
Physician who's had my license for 40 years and had a very strong biochemistry background and worked as an anesthesiologist, taking care of people's bodies in a very special way. I can say, and seeing what's happening with the X39, I can say without a doubt that this is the most significant medical breakthrough in my lifetime.
In his lifetime. Okay, this next slide here, can we just time out on the politics? Let's leave politics out of this. We're here to talk about health tonight, okay? We actually had a lady, she's on here tonight because of this picture, actually. She's pretty excited about it. This guy sitting in the leg press is 71 years old. He's actually in better shape than most 20-year-olds in our country. I'd say he's ripped. I mean, he's got six-pack and all that. His name's RFK Jr. He is the Secretary of Health and Human Services for the United States. If you look out of the back of his shirt, you can see the X39 patch sticking out there. So RFK's on the patch, which is really cool. And he had his staff actually reach out to David Schmidt's staff and say, hey, could you be on some kind of stem cell research thing? Or it took a lot of time commitment to do it. So David Schmidt had to unfortunately decline, but I think he's offering reports and data and stuff like that. So pretty awesome that he is actually on this patch and seeing the benefits of it. So
this is how it comes. It's a sleeve, and you get 30 patches in here, so you have a month's worth in here.
So if I wear
one every day, it'll last you a month, 30 days.
Which is what most people do.
Yes.
The majority of people wear one patch a day, but you can wear more than one. Like I know Brad is on here. He's got meniscus issues, so he wears one on his neck and one on each side of his leg. I don't know if he does that every day, but so what happened was David Schmidt hired a marketing company. Once they got the patent, they had a lot of testimonials and all the medical studies. He hired a marketing company to say, how much could we market this X39 for? With stem cells being so hot, yet they die off when people get injections. They die off after a pretty short period of time. And they told him at least $300 to $400 a month you could get per sleeve. And he said, okay, I appreciate that. Thanks for all the research. We want to bless more people. We're going to do $99 wholesale. And a lot of people thought he was crazy. He was leaving too much money on the table. Let's see what happened here. So the first year of the patent was issued in 2020. So 2021, this company had kind of flatlined. There were some doctorly types and scientists. I love doctors, I love scientists, but let's just say sometimes they could be a little too deep and a little too technical. So that's what was happening. They were literally reading the medical studies to people, reading the patent to people, boring people to tears. So the next year in 2022, something big changed. Well, a couple came along that actually shared this patch with us, Steve and Gina, and they knew how to put a presentation together that the average layperson that's not a medical person could understand. 320 million, the next year 430 million, 2024 over 600 million dollars. Last year 2025 just missed $1 billion. And you will not see this on the shelf at Walgreens, because even if you did, even if it had pictures with it, it takes a little bit of explaining. Okay, so what we recommend you do is place a wholesale order. As I said in the beginning, if you've seen enough here, there's a 30-day money back guarantee. Then we'd like to have you place an order. And it's very simple to do. Whoever invited you on this call, they can help you with that. Some people say, well, I'd like to place an order, and I got a cousin who's got diabetes, or I've got an uncle who's got arthritis, but I would want to try it myself first before I tell my cousin about it, which we appreciate that, because that's exactly where we were. Here's what happened to us. We watched a bunch of these testimonials that were sent to us. Most of them are 3 or 4 minutes long. And we saw these stories and we said, oh my goodness, there's no way that there's this many paid actors and actresses. These testimonials really opened our eyes to what's possible. We couldn't wait to get our patches and tell people about it. So even if you never told anybody about it, the best way to get the best pricing is become a brand partner. And what Amy and I did was we did the 6 sleeves, which is the advanced. That's $535. You get 6 sleeves. So I used a sleeve, Amy used a sleeve, and then
we have 4 kids.
4 kids. And the 4 kids now, we told them y'all can buy your own. So they buy their own now. And our son, by the way, our oldest son, he's been in 3 car accidents. He's got vertigo really bad. And they've tried everything through the years. Nothing helps with his vertigo except for this X39. Not intended to treat, cure, diagnose any disease or condition, but my son would argue with you that his vertigo is the only thing that works. Okay, so if times are tight or whatever, core, you get 3 sleeves, and that's $295. We've had several people do the Advanced Plus. You get 11 sleeves for $975. Obviously, the more you buy, the cheaper they are. You get 20 sleeves for $17.95 there. So whatever one works best for you, we just recommend place your wholesale order.